Hey everyone, and welcome back to another King Arthur Legends Rise video. So in today's video, guys, we're going to be going over the new hero, a little bit of a deep dive. I want to say at first, I think this hero is basically the Morgan of Arena. I think she is so customizable, and you can throw her into basically any team, and she's going to be good. Now, that does come with a caveat where I think she's at her best when you have the ability to flip through her individual relics, because a lot of this stuff is tied to like affecting the negative element that she's up against. And whether that's a good or a bad thing, I don't know, but it is, the facts. So with that being said, let's discuss her, okay? We're going to showcase her prior to her Chivalry 8, and then I do have two additional copies of her, and we're going to show what her Chivalry 8 can do. I'm a little hesitant to do stuff like this often because I really don't like when game developers release a hero and make you have to have tons of copies for you to unlock the full potential of a hero or make them useful. Now, I don't believe that's the case with Ceres, which is good. I think she's very good even without her Chivalry 8, but her Chivalry 8 reads very, very strong, and I've seen multiple videos from a couple different content creators talking about how it's a game changer. But we are going to do it today at least. I don't know if we'll do it in future videos. So let's recap what she starts with at Chivalry 0. All right? I think that's important. And then we're going to be talking about Chivalry 8 on her. So for Chivalry 0, when you first get her, these are her passives. So 100% chance to trigger when an ally attacks. This is all leveling up her skills, which should be noted, she is in the Serpent favor, which is a good or bad thing. We already know how fast she is. I've talked about this in a prior video. The problem is she is contesting those talismans with Morgan. So keep that in mind. So her passive is she has a 100% chance to trigger this anytime an ally attacks. There's no cooldown on it. She gains this Peripecia, where she gains effect accuracy times 10%. And this is an individual buff, so it's not just something that you get one of. You can stack these. And then she has a 100% chance to grant each Serpent's favorite ally effect res increase 1 for 2 turns. This is very, very good. Effect resistance, I think, goes a little bit under the radar. Most people know it for Ain's abilities to hit really, really hard damage. However, effect resistance can allow you to basically resist debuffs, attack gauge down, which is a big part of Arena. So I think this kind of goes a little under the radar. Her second passive says when using skill 1. Now this is something that the Chivalries update, but at least from a Chivalry 0, when using skill 1, it removes all of those effect accuracy buffs when you have 3 or more. So if you have 3 or more of those buffs, and then you use her skill 1, it will remove all of them. And when they're removed, she then removes 2 buffs from every enemy, which is very strong. However, I think this is a little bit more difficult to activate, and most of the matches in Arena are going to be over before this even triggers, so I wouldn't put too much stock into that. It's the next effect that I think is the more important one, which is the 100% chance to charge each Serpent favor ally's attack gauge. There's a lot of really good Serpent favors. You see some of them right here, but we'll filter real quick. So you have Morgan, which we know is amazing. You have Clarison, which has some pretty good, utility in Arena. You have Irit, which is one of the better ones, if not the best. And then you have like people like Sarah and stuff. You have Jack, who I've mentioned a little bit as well. So this second passive, the second part of this ability, is really strong. And then her third passive says at the start of battle, 100% chance to grant each ally pain connection debuff. So everyone gets this buff, and whenever they're hit with a debuff, it just reflects things back onto the person that put the debuff on you. So that's pretty strong. I wouldn't say that it's amazing, but it's a nice thing to have. And then one of her signature moves is this. She grants mirror image to the ally with the lowest HP for 2 turns at the start of the battle. This is a very strong skill. So mirror image reads, when that person who has that buff is hit, it reflects 50% of the damage back onto the attacker, and then gives that person attack increase 1 for 2 turns. And then they also randomly transfer that mirror image buff to someone else. So it's a one-time use. As soon as they're hit, this thing triggers, and then it goes to someone else. So it never gets removed unless you're going up against someone like, another Ceres or Morgan, someone who can remove buffs. So those are her passives. Her baseline Storm Relic on her skill 1 is just a blanketed damage ability where she does additional damage based on her effect accuracy. Her second skill gives a 100% chance to grant Reflection State to an ally for 2 turns. And what that Reflection State does is it's more reflect damage. It's a certain amount of damage, and that's basically it. You can actually skill this up to have the reflect damage be increased. And then she also has a 100% chance to inflict attack decrease 1 on every frost element enemy for 2 turns. What I was saying about the flexibility and why she's like a Morgan in Arena is because of this second skill. If she has her Frost Relic, she then puts up inflict attack decrease on all flame. And then if she's flame, same thing for the storm element enemies. So if you have all of her relics, you have the ability to go in and apply the attack decrease on whoever your enemy's damage dealer is. That's why I thought she was pretty she had a wide variety of things. I can't think of vocabulary right now. So then her third skill is she has a 100% chance to grant each ally attack gauge decrease immunity. This is very strong against people like Morgan. Morgan's whole thing in Arena is to just reduce attack gauge, and then your team never gets to go. Same thing with heroes like Clementine, Gillian. It's a wide variety. She then has a 100% chance to inflict attack decrease on each enemy for 2 turns. So if you want to use her skill 3 and not her skill 2, if she, is going up against a fire enemy or another storm enemy, you can use this and still put up the attack decrease instead of using the skill 2 if you don't have the necessary relic. And then she has a 100% chance to remove 2 buffs from each enemy. This is very strong. And then, this is also really cool, she has a 100% chance to charge her Vigor by +1. So this reads as a Vigor 2 skill. So all really great things. She only has 1 damage dealing ability, which is interesting. However, it's a lot of control. She's the second person in the game that can remove buffs consistently along with Morgan. Morgan, however, has it on a cooldown on her passive. This is just on an active skill. So all really great abilities. She also has a second kind of, or a hidden passive that you really don't, it like flies under the radar, but it only activates in Arena or Clan War. And whenever she is the leader, she gains this ability, which is Future Victory. Anytime somebody attacks, she has a 50% chance to join in the attack to do this effect, which is 59% of her attack, and then she gets additional damage boosts if her effect accuracy is high. So tons of different ways to build her. So let's talk about the other chivalries that she gets. So the first one is this Mirror Reversal, adds a different skill. So Mirror Reversal is her second ability. Oh, no, it's the third one. So this Mirror Reversal ends up getting this Twist of Fate. So at the start of the battle, whenever somebody gets inflicted with a debuff, they're going to reflect it with the pain connection, and then the Twist of Fate is going to remove it. So as soon as they get hit with the debuff, they'll then remove it. That's a pretty nice chivalry. It's not game-changing, but it's a nice to have. The third chivalry is really important. The additional skill effect for skill 2. So her skill 2, this is something that I haven't seen in a whole lot of passives. On her chivalry, it's giving her a new skill on her actual relic, and that is perseverance. This ends up being really, really key. So the perseverance, if your hero is going to die, if they have perseverance up, it saves them. So this is key to play along with this mirror image. So the mirror image ends up reflecting damage on somebody, right? A lot of times, if people see this buff on somebody, they either avoid that person or they try and one-shot them. We'll show this in some clips whenever we go into the arena. However, if you have that third chivalry, you can grant perseverance to that ally so they can't be one-shot and they'll still reflect the damage. On top of that, they're getting the additional reflection state. So Chivalry 3 is very, very key. Chivalry 4 is not bad. This changes mirrored counters activation condition to when using a skill. So this is that whole, buff removal skill where if she has 3 or more of those effect accuracy buffs, instead of using skill 1, now anytime she uses any skill, if she has 3 of those conditions up, she'll then trigger a buff explosion. Now, I haven't tested how much damage this actually does, but I heard it does okay damage, but that's not what you're really using her for. Her Chivalry 5 is 20 attack speed, which is huge, and then her attack on Chivalry 6 is a decent buff, but again, that's not... Well, I wouldn't say that's not important to the main way to build her, but you can build her in a bunch of different ways. And then Chivalry 8 is more stats. Chivalry 7 is more stats. Chivalry 8, this is the big one. So Kaleidoscope Illusion. It changes the effect of that mirror image, which is the 50% damage taken, to this ability, which reflects 200% damage taken. So this is a huge reflect. On top of that, you also gain 50% less damage taken. So if you have this Kaleidoscope Blessing up and you are able to put up the Perseverance, like you want to avoid that hero at all costs. But if you don't kill Ceres, she's just going to be able to spam this skill on people. And it's going to be difficult for your opponent to pick and choose when to kill people if they have multiple threats. So yeah, that's what we're going to test today. So let's go in and talk about, her current abilities within Arena. Like I had mentioned in a prior video, and we'll showcase it here, prior to her release, Morgan was the fastest character. She has a base speed of 130 once she has everything Chivalry 10. If you look at Ceres, which is the new hero, her speed is 142, which is way faster. It's 12 whole speed. That's tons more speed in this setting. So you can build her a couple ways, especially if she's Chivalry 8. The first way is with just tons of speed, because her second passive will boost Serpent Favor Allies' attack gauge by 20%. So you want her to be your fastest hero, because then she can then boost the attack gauge of somebody. I think this is really important, considering other people are going to be using Ceres, which means if they're using Ceres, you can't use the typical strategy of using Morgan to reduce the attack gauge meter and then have the rest of your team go, because if you're going up against a strong Ceres, the other thing on her Chivalry 8 is it puts that attack gauge decrease immunity at the start of the battle. So boosting attack gauge is going to be way more important than reducing attack gauge now. It just so happens that one of the other people in her favor to get that attack gauge boost can be Irrit. So if you have a leveled up Irrit can jump ahead of people and then nuke. So I think going high speed and having her as a support hero is very, very important. The other way that you can play her, if you have her as your leader, which you're most likely going to do because it has the attack speed 20% increase, she'll gain that future victory, which could turn her into a damage dealer. So you can make her very, very slow and then just have her be very high damage and just utilize this co-op attack to really single target some people and maximize your damage. Those are the two ways that I would kind of run her without her Chivalry 8. So right now I have her in a speed set with two independent broken sets. They are attack, but I don't get any bonus from them. So I've got the attack speed ring on her and then crit rate on her earring just to do a little bit of damage with her co-op attack. She has an HP speed set with attack speed 9 there. She's got attack speed plus 10 on this, attack speed 10 on this, and attack speed 7 on this. She's wearing a belt with defense just to get the additional attack speed. I can put effect accuracy there. This is something that if you have an effect accuracy necklace, you certainly can do that because it will increase her damage on her future victory because you get additional percentage boost on her multiplier based on the amount of effect accuracy she has. And then I have her in attack speed here with an attack speed subset on the orb. So let's go showcase her in arena, see what she can do. So I'm using, let's use someone like Bedivere to go with her. And we're using Morgan. So they do not have a Ceres, which is good news for us because we can still utilize Morgan to push back the attack gauge. All right, so she's going first. She has put up the buffs. So there's that pain connection debuff on everybody. On top of that, she does have Twist of Fate. This is one of the other chivalries that I had on her, where if someone's inflicted with a debuff, it removes it. And then the lowest damage... Who has the lowest amount of health? Someone should have the lowest amount of health. Oh, Morgan. So Morgan has Mirror Image. So she has the lowest amount of health amongst all of my heroes, which is put up on the Chivalry... it's not Chivalry, it's her passive. So right here. 100% chance to grant Mirror Image to the ally with the lowest HP. So we can boost our Morgan. There's the 20% gauge boost, and we jumped in front of their Morgan. And now we can just go in and do this. So this is one of the applications that she is certainly good for when it comes to using her without her Chivalry 8. And you saw there, that's where she kind of joined up on the attack because she is the leader. So every time we do that, she has a 50% chance to go in. And you see here, we've had multiple attacks by our heroes. And she keeps getting these additional buffs to increase her effect accuracy. So when this ability is off cooldown, if any of my opponents have a buff, she will remove those buffs and activate Buff Explosion. So we're going to try and take this slow and showcase the Buff Explosion, which is really good because we just got that on Anguish. I'm trying to see Okay, so she still has 3 turns. We can't kill any of these guys too quick. All right, down to 2 turns. We want all the buffs. Okay. 1 more turn. Very, very good. All right, lots of freezes. Okay, last turn. All right, so here, whenever we use a skill, we're going to remove these buffs and deal some damage. Let's see how much damage it does. Okay, yeah, so it was like 1,500 or whatever. Yeah, that, I don't know. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's something. That's why I said don't prioritize it. So the other thing that we should look at is the pain link. So this is her reflective damage that the reflection state upon being hit. Let's see how much damage this actually does whenever Morgan uses this. So we need to put it back up because it's fallen off. I said Morgan, I meant Merlin. But you see the additional damage that she does. It's kind of nice little chip damage there. I think, oh, very good. Okay, good. Yeah, let's just, let's go in here. I want to see what this reflective state will do. So let's put it up on our Ain. And once they finally attack Ain, they might be too scared. We'll see what the actual reflection damage is. Okay, so here's the reflect damage. Pretty good, right? That's pretty good. Even just for her skill 2. So the mirror image, we didn't pay too much attention to that at the start of the battle. What we'll do is we'll go in with just a Anya because she's pretty slow. And we'll see what the reflect damage does from that mirror image. All right, so let's slow this down. So we won't put up her skill 2 reflect damage because we want to see how much this mirror image does. Oh, bummer. Wow, that's only 1 turn. Okay, hold on. I need to bring in somebody with lower HP. We'll put it on Morgan just to see how much damage it does. She does need to survive, though, which is something the Chivalry 8 certainly will help. Okay. Sadly, this might boost her in front of somebody else. Jeez. Okay, we can't get the mirror state going. This is very frustrating. Let's put in somebody else. Let's put in Tristan. All right. Okay, he's going. Okay, he has the mirror image and he's going after Morgan. Good. All right, so we'll attack Morgan. Here we go. Let's see how much this mirror image does. This is 50% reflect damage. That was 1,100? Yeah. Like, I'd say that was pretty bad. And then it didn't do a whole lot of damage against the Bedivere. So I would say, well, I guess in that instance we're going up against a support hero. So they're not doing a whole lot of damage. But I would say that it's probably not worth putting too much stock into. I think the speed from your Ceres is the most important thing there. Boosting people, putting up the reflective state, and the perseverance. All right, now let's boost her up. Let's increase her chivalry to 8. And now we get that kaleidoscope blessing. All righty. Now let's see what this does. And is it still just for one turn? The one turn, I'm not going to lie. Oh, no. So it is 2 turns. All right. So now we can put this up on somebody like Anya. Or Morgan. Let's put it on Morgan. And see what the reflect damage does. Let's see if she'll actually survive. Okay, so there's the reflect state. So here's the kaleidoscope. And she removed it. Yay. This is quite hard to actually activate. We will put it up on herself. So I guess it makes sense to prioritize somebody that is going to have a lot of effect resistance. Okay, okay, we're putting it up on herself. So Morgan goes in. Let's see the reflect damage. Well, there you have it. That was pretty huge. Okay, and now Bedivere's going to go, but we have oh, no. Cormac's going to go. So 4,500? It's pretty good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's decent damage. So we're back to the reflect state again. And we have perseverance up again. Okay, so perseverance kind of worked that time. So that's just the reflection damage from the reflection state. Yeah. So the initial kaleidoscope seemed to do pretty decent damage. However, the setup is tough because it only goes on the hero with the lowest HP. Now, to get that, your best target for this is 100% Anya. Like 100%. This is who you want this on. And to build her with lower HP, I guess can be a thing. You know, that can be a thing where you just have her lower HP and just crank out her attack, her crit damage, and you're utilizing the effect from Kaleidoscope to reduce the amount of damage so she still survives, or you have her go first. The thing is on auto, like on defense, I'm almost positive that whenever she's prioritizing somebody to put this skill up on skill 2, it's going to prioritize the hero with the lowest HP. So I think that works that way. Okay, guys. So in a recap, I would say that this hero is quite strong, but it is very hard to set up. At least the Chivalry 8. I think she's a great addition already, just without her Chivalry 8. Without her Chivalry 8, I think she's extremely strong just because of how fast she is. She boosts the attack gauge. She puts up that perseverance. This reflection state thing has decent damage, and she's also like joining in on attacks. I wouldn't say that to bank on her Chivalry 8 is that important. But I'm not at high end arena. So from an arena perspective, if you're into that, I think she's a fantastic hero. Other than that, I really don't think she's going to be used anywhere. But yeah, that's kind of just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it was helpful. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.